know it's a little bit early, you guys, and some of you are still waiting for your lunch, but we're going to go ahead and get things started. First of all, I'd like to welcome some guests that we have today. When I say your name, please stand up. We have Nancy Bevins here. She's a guest of Ellie Patterson. Nancy?
Nancy retired from Bell South, and she and her husband moved to Tucson several years ago, and now she's looking to participate really to get involved with the community, and she's visiting several Rotary clubs, and it might be she's visiting the best one.
I think so. Welcome. We also have Jessica Brewer, guest of Michelle Hatch. Kathy Prater, guest of Jim Liebinski. Kathy's with JTED. I didn't see Steve Keppen with Film Creations here. Did he make it?
No, he's actually working today.
Oh, we're making him work. All right, we also have Dave Eagleton here. He's trying to sneak out on us. All right. Well, he's here, guest of Bruce Tunzi. So thanks for coming back to visit us. Also, hello to everybody who's tuning in virtually to watch this fantastic program today. And now for the big show. I would like to introduce Jim Liebinski. Member since December of 2003, born in Wisconsin, Jim grew up in Illinois and went on to graduate from the University of Illinois. He's a vice president and CFO of Bookmans. Jim was the president of Rotary Club of Tucson from 2012 to 2013. We actually owe Jim a huge debt of gratitude. I do not know if you all know this, but during his presidency, he is responsible for hiring Dorina. So, when Jim is not busy planning our centennial, he enjoys biking, golfing, driving his 1970 Corvette, and now he's going to come up and talk about all the big plans. Jim.
Thank you, President Jen. It's great to be back. It's been a year since I've attended one of these meetings in person, and it's great to see all of you in person today, and hope to make that a regular thing going forward. So we got a big program today, so my comments are going to be brief. Most of the people that are going to be speaking today are our committee chairs for the various functions that are going to be going on. Our club turns 100 this April. And for almost the last 3 years, we've been planning for our centennial celebration. The first step was to gain consensus of the club board, the foundation board, the car show leadership team in terms of what our celebration would look like. It was agreed that the centennial project would be a separate project, but it would have to be complementary to the car show. Through a series of meetings, it was agreed that the car show would be separate but complementary, but the car show and another separate event would be our main funding mechanism for our centennial beneficiary. A target goal was established of $250,000 that we would raise for one single beneficiary. Our initial centennial committee consisted of about 20 members, and then we subsequently subdivided the committee into 3 main focus areas. First being our beneficiary search and vetting. Second, club history, and third, our special events and celebration. Over the following 6 months, the Beneficiary Search Committee, headed up by Jim Murphy, sought out worthy charitable beneficiaries and received over 43 applications for our funding. Ultimately, Pima JTED's Innovative Learning Center came out on top via club vote. Yay! And we have Kathy Prater here today, superintendent, to share in our joy of getting this project together for you. Meanwhile, the Club History Committee, headed up by John Wong and Charlotte Harris, set to work to identify our rich history and how best to share that with the club. The Special Event and Celebration Committee is headed by Liebinski, And he began, with his team, planning a outstanding celebration that came to a grinding halt a year ago in March when COVID-19 reared its ugly head. We had to stop, reevaluate, replan, and start all over again. So you're going to hear where we've come from that point in time today. Over the last several years, the Centennial Committee and subcommittee members have spent countless hours of planning, revising, planning again. Today you're going to hear from each one of those subcommittee chairs in terms of what their area of focus is going to be doing to help celebrate our centennial. In addition, Joni Condon, our 2021 car show chair, will bring us up to speed on where we're going to be with the 2021 iteration of the car show and how the partnership between the Centennial and the car show has turned into a hopefully very exciting event. So, without further ado, first up is John Wong. John has been a member of our club for over 38 years. He's a retired orthopedic surgeon and team doctor for U of A Athletics. He's a former director, club president, foundation president, and two-time car show chair. John heads up our history committee, and he will give you a brief summary of some of the highlights of our past 100 years. John?
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, we've been doing, for those of you who've been paying attention, we've been doing history moments since 2018. So part of what I'm going to do today is a quiz to see who's been paying attention. Who founded Rotary? Next slide, please. You got it. What year was that? 1905. What year was Rotary Club of Tucson chartered? 1921. Very good. And our charter says 856, so we were the 856th club. Now, Paul Harris's major regret was that he did not have the opportunity to attend South Point. Where did he go to college?
Princeton.
Yeah, next slide.
Put on your pants.
All right. Next slide. Well, a lot of what you've been hearing from us in these history moments has come from this excellent book that was put together in 1971 to commemorate 50 years of Rotary Club of Tucson. I tried to talk Charlotte Harrison into doing a 100-year book, but she hasn't agreed to it yet. In any case, this has been a valuable resource. You also probably don't know, next slide please, that in our Rotary office we have 99 years of club bulletins. And we gained a lot of our history moments from some of those. Next slide. I'm just going to talk about one of the history moments that we did. Does everybody remember what the Rotary motto is? Service above self. And I think one of the most important service things that we do is providing education for young people through scholarships. And our scholarship committee was first formed in 1947. In 1949, this man, Jim Walker, was graduating from high school at Tucson High, and he got our club scholarship to go to the University of Arizona. Next. This was the bulletin. This was the face of the bulletin in 1956. He graduated from the University of Arizona. He went on to seminary. He got a degree. He applied for what has now become known as the Rotary Ambassadorial Scholarship, which in my mind is just as important and just as good as a Rhodes Scholarship. Because Rotary International pays a graduate student or senior in college to go to any school college, university in the world and pays for all of their expenses, plus some pocket money for a whole year. He has done that, so he benefited from our scholarship and Rotary International scholarship, and he came back and visited with us in 2020. I want you to see the masthead at the top. I'm going to come back to that. Next slide.
Sorry.
So this is 2020 when he came back, and I hope that most of you were here when he was there. It was a wonderful program to have him come back and talk about all of the things that he's accomplished since he got started with our scholarship back in 1949. And he has gone on to become a very important educator. He's been the president of more than one college. He has stayed in Rotary. He has been a president of a Rotary Club. And he's just a fantastic example of what can happen when we support young people through their education. Next. So look at the masthead at the top, and you may not be able to read it, but at the very top where it says editor, it says Ray Manley. Does anybody remember Ray Manley? Okay. Ray Manley was born in 1921. He was a member of our club from 1955 on, and he made a lot of contributions to our club. He, next slide. That's a photo from 1983. Next. Ray Manley was born and grew up in the Verde Valley. Loved the outdoor stuff, became a Boy Scout. He wanted to go to the National Jamboree as a teenager, and Rotary Club funded his trip to Washington to be in the National Jamboree. And here's something that you probably don't know. They also provided a Kodak Brownie camera so that he could take some photos of his trip to the National Jamboree. That was the beginning of Ray Manley's photographic career. Next. And this is one of the mastheads of many that we used from his photographic collection for several decades. Next. He became, as some of you know, a world-famous photographer, and he was published in Arizona Highways. He was published in calendars for Trans World Airways, Air France, and many other travel publications. Next. He gave a talk. When I joined the club in 1983. In about 1985, he gave a presentation to our club. And he talked about what really got him started internationally, and it was this photograph, a time-lapse photograph that he took of the Arch of Triumph in Paris, that TWA decided they wanted to buy from him. And that got him started. Next slide. So that's a little bit of a rest of the story, history moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Very rich history we have, and so that leads very comfortably into our next speaker. Next up is Rick Rhodes. Rick is a 33-year member. He's the owner of Film Creations and has a very interesting career, including being vice chair of the Tucson Film Commission. He worked on the 1980 Lake Placid Olympics. He's the former director of photography at the Jerry Lewis Telethon. He has been involved in major films, and including Three Amigos and Little House on the Prairie. He's worked and produced hundreds of television commercials and political spots. Rick has been working fiendishly in producing a video that will capture the 100-year history of our club. And Rick actually came to us and asked, this was an inspiration on his part, and he said, I really think that it would be great if we were able to put together a video that encapsulates 100 years of Rotary. So I think we owe him a very major debt of gratitude. We see a small snippet of that today, with the full unveiling of it coming out on our September 25th centennial event. So Rick, you're up.
Oh, thank you very much. It has been a real labor of love, and I'm honored actually to work with Annie for a number of years. We did a lot of this TV work. He was a photographer, but we did a lot of production work as well. So very cool guy. So this has been a real labor of love, and honestly, even after 33 years, I had no idea what this club was about. It's kind of a strange thing to say. But the membership of the club over the years has been just incredible. It's really a who's who of Tucson, Arizona, Southern Arizona. What you can see today is pretty much a rough cut of about 4 minutes, maybe 3-4 minutes worth of stuff. I got to tell you, compressing 100 years into 20 minutes or less, it's not an easy challenge. I think this is the 35th draft of the script, because the first one was like 28 pages long, and now we got down to 17 pages, which is going to run about hopefully 20 minutes. The longest part of it now is going to be cutting down the various live past president interviews we have to do. We hope to have it done by early April, so the community will have a way to take a look at it, see if there are any changes that need to be made. And I want to give a shout out to Sean and Bob and Dr. John. Without them, this thing would be 20 minutes of blank screen. So without further ado, this is what I got so far. Keep in mind it's very rough yet. This is only about 1929.
Tell you a little bit about what makes Rotary International and the Rotary Club of Tucson in particular so special.
In 1905, the fellow attorney Paul Rhodes and 3 local businessmen.
Whoops, wrong plug. I didn't like anything.
Sorry, I didn't
Yeah, you
memorize
did.
it. Stand up,
Yeah. This is why I don't do live stuff very much.
Thank you.
Like it so far?
We'll come back to this.
Told you it was short.
Just project, okay. All right, we're going to kind of skip past Rick's very brief video, and we'll come back to it a little bit later. So we'll go on to our next presenter here. So next up is Liebinski. Lee joined our club initially back in 2004 and has been involved in the senior medical healthcare industry and is currently the CEO of WIT2, a firm that consults in this field. During his career, he has spent more than 25 years improving the health services of the Native American communities. He's on numerous community boards and has also been the former CEO of Handmaker Services. Lee heads up our event committee, and he is here today to give you a preview of what's in store for our event coming up. Yay! And I want to give kudos to Lee and his committee here, because we had to do a complete stop a year ago over where we were. Just to let you know, we had an event planned for May of this coming year with Jay Leno headlining it. And we had gotten all of the contracts and everything else pretty much worked out, and then COVID decided to rear its ugly head. So we've had to pivot, we had to come up with something that is a little bit more flexible and versatile, and through I don't know how many different iterations, we've come to where we're at today, and Lee's going to talk to you a little bit about that. Lee?
We want Leno. We want Leno.
You know, when we started the old Groundhog Day, that's what I feel like. The movie, though. When we started this, thanks to Faye Morris and her colleagues, we were able to get a first-hand introduction to Jay. And at that point, I think some of you may remember, the marketing committee put together a really nice package for Jay. It was a cool box with his name on it, I think. I think Matt Blair found like overalls, or someone found overalls, and we put his name on it, and we shipped it all to him. And he loved all that stuff, and we worked, and then the virus arrived, and we said, okay, that was a nice idea. I'll let Michelle mention the gift that we still have that we can use in the auction for the event. So when Jim was explaining this to you briefly earlier, at that point we were talking about what I would call a quasi-mega event at a location with Jay Leno and the public and also. So given what's happened in the past, in the future is still a little iffy, if you will, in terms of how many people can attend an event, even though it's going to be at the end of September. What we put together is sort of a three-part program. But before I mention that, I want to thank and also acknowledge the committee members. So Art Alice and Faye Morris are working on the venue, which I'll tell you about, which will include the food and beverage and what have you. Nina, Traceoff, and Dot are going to work on some entertainment we're going to have that evening. Peter Behan is working on the classic car portion, which I'll mention to you. Matt Blair is working on some materials for mailing, and he's also looking at what we might give out as some mementos of the event that evening. Lisa Fogel is going to work on decor, and of course Jim Liebinski, he's working on me most of the time. With great support from Doreen and Carrie. Doreen and Carrie are working on with me on the mailing list. So one of the pleas I'll make to you all, if you have, they don't have to be VIPs, but if you have guests you'd like to invite who you think might enjoy attending and participating, please send their name and email address to Carrie or Dorina. We found that we're able to most likely upload email addresses into the Eventbrite software. So it will make the process of sending out emails and invitations for members and guests much easier. And if any of you want to help in any of those sort of subcommittees, please let either or any of those people know. That would be great. What we did, not to go into too much excruciating detail, but not unlike the search for a new venue for lunch, we did visit, Art Alice, myself, Faye, and her husband Eric. We did visit several different locations, including Cathedral Square downtown, which was really interesting, and some other time, if you're interested, I can tell you some of the details. But it's got a really interesting venue for events. It just wasn't right for us at the time. We went to Westwood Look, same kind of thing, and we went back to TCC where we were going to originally do the event. It still offers us the most flexibility in space. If there's limitations on gatherings at that point, the ballrooms that they have are huge, and it would seem to me that we would have enough space under most circumstances for that. We also printed out a little more detail on a sheet that's out on the table. We're not allowed to put them on tables here, so if you want one, you're welcome to grab one. The tentative hours would be roughly, the evening will be roughly from 5 to 9 p.m. with everything in place. You all probably know that on the west side of the Tucson Convention Center is a large portico, and we found that there would be plenty of rooms for classic cars there. So Peter's working on bringing 10 classic cards, one from each decade, to be placed outside. The inside lobby of the TC is we're going to have a cocktail hour or so with a cash bar and music, and the ability to stroll out to the cards and take a look at them. We'll have a raffle card there and the ability to sell raffles as well. We hope they should be able to be done. Then we'll move inside for what I would call the 100-year party. And we're working on the details of the quote party, and I'll share those with you once we get a little more one more detail. We're going actually on the 18th. Faye, Art, and myself are going down there, and then on the 30th, Michelle and Lisa and I are going to go down there to look at the core and the auction, which we need to do for the auction. So it'll be basically cocktail hour, large party, and then auction. And we'll have about 10 or so live auction items or auction items for a live auction. They may not be live auction items. That's everything in kind of excruciatingly brief detail. Anybody have any questions for me?
What was the date?
Oh, why didn't I tell you the date? September 25th. That was based on availability, time frame, and also far enough into the year where we think that the virus should be less of an issue for most of us. And as I said, there's a sheet, just a plain sheet in the back that breaks down the evening a little more detail if you want to see some of the details. But I want to thank the committee because we've had a zillion Zoom meetings and debugging people and so on and so forth. So thanks to everybody, and if you'd like to help, we could use it. I'm sure Lisa could use some help when we come down to the we call it the court, it's not better than decoration. Thank you.
And I just want to add that that date, the 9/25 date, has been, we've had to save the date in the bulletin that's been sent out regularly, so, you know, for the 5 of you who've read it, you've probably seen that as well. But I guess we're ready again to show the video, so I don't think, Rick, do you need to come back up, or we're just...
No, I'm okay.
Let's roll.
Extremely proud to be co-presidents of the Rotary Club of Tucson during this, our centennial year.
Many people, even our fellow Rotarians, don't know much about what our club has accomplished over the past 100 years.
So we thought we'd tell you a little bit about what makes Rotary International and the Rotary Club of Tucson in particular so special.
In 1905, Chicago attorney Paul Harris and 3 local businessmen formed the world's first service organization. They called it Rotary, as each week they would rotate to meet in a different member's office. Within a decade, the Rotary concept was spreading across the country, and in 1921, Rotary came to Tucson.
Conditions in 1921 were eerily similar to those today. Countries around the world were just recovering from the horrors of the Spanish flu pandemic and the devastation caused by World War I.
Here in Tucson, a small group of about 75 community leaders called the Tucson Lunch Club met on a weekly basis to discuss local business and community issues.
Some of the group's younger members asked Orville McPherson, one of the Chamber of Commerce, to inquire about forming a local Rotary Club or Kiwanis Club. So McPherson contacted both organizations, but received no immediate response from either.
Then in January of 1921, representatives of both organizations showed up in Tucson in person, unannounced on the same day.
And this was completely unexpected. And while Jack Lyman hosted Rotary representatives on one floor of the Santa Rita Hotel, Orville would entertain his guests from the Kiwanis on the other.
Jack and Orville frequently compared notes in the hotel stairwell during these meetings, and ultimately it was decided that both Rotary and Kiwanis would be given local charters, with the condition that the Rotary Club of Tucson, club number 856, would need 50 charter members.
This was quickly accomplished, and our club's first meeting was called to order by President Jack Lyman at Dickerman's Cafe on Valentine's Day, February 14, 1921.
That same year, the word international was added to the Rotary logo, as the organization now had over 200 clubs on 6 continents. And in 1922, the slogan, "Service Above Self," became the official Rotary motto.
By the early 1920s, our community's passion for bicycle racing was established with the first Tucson to Phoenix bike race, a grueling 140-mile ride on often unpaved roads. Countries are
To discuss local business
no immediate response from me.
Rotary and Kiwanis will be given local charters with the condition.
All right, I think we get the gist. So in order to get the program completed today, we'll skip the rest of that video. Rick, outstanding job the way it started, and Jennifer and Mark, great narrators there. So then that's shows how much we can get for paying nothing.
And worth every penny.
So, I just wanted to highlight, just following up on Lee's comment, that Rick's video, which will be 20 plus or minus minutes, will be the conclusion of our September 25th event. So that's going to be kind of a highlight from there. So next up is Michelle Hatch. Michelle hails from Massachusetts and has been a Rotarian since 2001 in 6 different clubs. I'm not going to comment on that. She has spent 27 years in the hospitality industry and is currently the Director of Resort and Sales at the Casino del Sol. In 2020, Michelle and her daughter Jessica founded Caleb's Assist in order to create a legacy to her late son's name. When she's not working, hiking, skydiving, or off-roading in her Jeep, Michelle heads up our Centennial Car Show Auction Committee, which will be a significant component of our fundraising and also part of our September 25th celebration. So without further ado, Michelle.
Yes, I love the word significant. So last year we did an online auction, and previous years we did a live auction, and so this year we're going to do both. And in that, 2020 we had about $28,000 worth of revenue from the auction, and this year I got a small increase. They only want me to do $100,000 in profit from the auction. So I need all of your help. Obviously, we all participate, but I think sometimes pieces get put aside or lost. Yes, we definitely want your items donated. Things from businesses, gift certificates, objects that may be valued that people can bid on, but don't forget to ask others around you. So as you're in the community, spread the word about the auction and the car show, and ask for items, whether it is a helicopter or plane ride, culinary lessons. Sometimes people can't provide what they used to. Because of COVID, a lot of businesses are restricting donations, but maybe they can do an experience. And so there was someone that I talked to who's going to do a pastry demo. And that's not going to cost him anything, but that's an experience that maybe someone else would enjoy. So get creative when you're looking for auction items. And then as we get things going, we're going to start the online auction about a month prior to the live event, so at the end of August, and obviously more details to come as that proceeds. But not only do we need you to bid on these items, but again, talk to other Rotarians. You mentioned 6 clubs. Yes, I have been in many clubs, and that's mainly because as I've moved or switched jobs, I have to join a new club. And as that happens, I have a lot of connections, so I will reach back to them, and I'm sure I know many of you have been in other Rotary clubs as well. Reach back to those connections. Rotarians love to help Rotarians, and they may want to bid on some of these items as well. One of the primary items that we have happens to be a garage tour with Jay Leno's Big Dog Garage, I believe it's called. So Jay Leno himself will not be present, but if you'd like to see his cars, you'll be able to bid on that. And that's something that I think that we can continue to promote again in the community on our own social media accounts, as well as LinkedIn, things of that nature, so that we can gain attention. That is our center item. It's going to be our showcase item that will be part of the live auction, and we're hoping will bring in the most revenue. The visit is for 2 people. There's no photography or recording. All guests have to be over the age of 16, but it is a working garage, and so there'll be a lot of action that they'll be able to see personally. So I look forward to a great event and getting as close to $100,000 as I can.
Thanks, Michelle. I have every confidence that the close side will be north of the $100,000 figure in there. And then Jay Leno's package, I'm not going to explain all the details now, but there's going to be more to it. One of our very generous members has added additional value to that. You're going to hear about it when that package is all put together. And just for comparative purposes, Leno does this occasionally across the country. He's done it for the Beverly Hills Rotary Club, and his auction usually raises north of $10,000 for that. So we're expecting some big dollars to come out of that. So last, but certainly not least, is Joni Condon. Joni is a 30-year member and served as our club director, club president, vice president of our club's foundation, and is the 2021 Tucson Classics Car Show Chair. She's a 2-time U of A alum and is currently the CEO at La Posada, a senior living organization in Green Valley. Joni's going to tell you a little bit about the car show and what's coming up. Joni?
Wow, I'm so excited to see all of you. This is like Jim. This is the first meeting I've been able to attend in a year. And man, it's good to see all of you. So I also want to wish everybody a happy holiday today. Love all the green. I'm here to get you guys all excited about this year's signature event. Cliff, I want you all to plan to attend on March 31st to hear Cliff's wrap up. And we had a great year in spite of a terrible year. And so I want you to attend and, give him his due, because there's lots of good news about that. But we are going to have a real car show this year. All right. And I'm going to tell you that. So, next slide, please. Can you tell I'm excited? This is really an exciting year. And Mark Irvin loves to use the phrase, go big or go home. And that's what we're doing this year. You heard that Michelle's got a little bit of pressure. We all have to help her. Everybody's going to have to help us do what we're going to do this year for the car show to make it a big success for JTED. And we're so excited, Kathy, that you're here. We have something that we haven't done before, and you don't get to see it today. I'm sorry, you don't get to see it today. Usually Mike Anderson gives us our car and we drive the car into the DoubleTree, right? So you're robbed. You don't get to have that this year. Not yet, but you're going to get it. And Mike's going to tell you later all about the details. But you need to know a little bit about it so you can sell raffle tickets. So we, this year, Mike's always found us this fabulous car, not a new car, but a good car, a great car, that had low mileage. And he always did it for under $20,000. But this year, go big or go home, we're getting a brand new C8 Corvette, made to order, custom ordered, that Mike put together the details on. And this is happening through the efforts of Rotarians. So, Mark Irvin said, I know Rob Draper over at O'Reilly, Jim Liebinski was involved, Jen and I were sort of, we tagged along. And Rob Draper said, there's no way you're getting a C8 we have 140 people in line to get this car, waiting to get this car. They only made 2,500 of these cars last year. But Mark put a little pressure on Rob. Rob kicked it up to Chevrolet. As the weeks went by, we heard a little bit better news, right, Mark? And finally, all of a sudden, Rob couldn't believe it, but he called us and said, "You're getting put to the front of the line."
Yeah.
So they really are. They're very excited that of what we're trying to do here. So, you know, we got to make sure that we make it worth their while too and make them look good. We expect our car sometime towards the end of April. We hoped it might be here today, but it's not. So we don't know exactly what that date is, but they are building our car. Next slide, please. Is that a pretty car or what?
I'll drive it up here if you'd like.
I just want you to know Steve Pickering was so generous. He is a 4-car garage and he has offered to park that car. And I told him he could. And the reason I told him he can is because he is running the operational side of this car show, so he deserves to be able to park that car in his garage. So next slide, please. We do have we have big commitments this year. You heard that, $250,000, and we're gonna do it. We have money that I'm not gonna reveal. Cliff's gonna tell you all about that. But we also need to add a good chunk of money this year from the car show and $100,000 from the auction, Michelle. But what we can do it. We can do it. We're gonna have a world-class raffle, and if they don't want the car, Mike can't believe anybody would possibly not want this car. But you know, if they take the car, they have to pay the sales tax before they can drive the car off the field. And some people don't want to come up with that. Somebody might not want a red Corvette that they're going to get a ticket for just by getting in the car. So they could have $50,000 cash prize this year. So go big or go home. We have 5 other great raffle prizes that have been lined up. I'm going to tell you about that. Because we've been doing this is our 15th year of doing this prize, or this car show. And because of the car that we have, we decided there was a lot of discussion, but the feeling is it's time to up the price of the tickets. And I mean, who's not going to pay $10 to win that Corvette, right? And I want to tell you, I'll save it for in a minute, but one of the members in this club has already sold a lot of tickets, and he will tell you that it wasn't too hard. We got to sell 35,000 of these tickets. Now we can do that, and I won't steal Cliff's thing. He'll tell you how many in a few weeks, how many we sold. We can do this, and we want to make this the best car show yet. This is Supreme 15. Next slide. So these are the raffle prizes lined up. Besides our fabulous grand prize, we have a $3,000 shopping spree from Sam Lovitz, and also Sam's Outlet, Ashley Stores, and the gallery at Lovitz. $2,000 in new appliances that can be won from Tucson Appliance Center. $1,000 from Jack Furrier, thanks to Sean. And a $1,000 gift certificate from the specialist. And also $500, thank you, Chuck Sawyer from Cartridge World. So we have some amazing raffle prizes this year, so we're pretty darn excited. Next slide, please. So what's been happening? Since December, our executive committee has been working on this. And, you know, there's some people that have been doing this year in and year out, so thank you so much, Marion Gradis, and thank you, Candy Vector, for always being there. I think you heard Steve Pickering's handling operations, which is a long list, and Chuck Sawyer's handling all the site work, and he's been working on that with the Gregory School. Our marketing team is beyond good. They're great. Cindy Barbie and Mary Martin are working together on all of our media, and Candy's helping with that too. and Mary Ann's kind of running a lot of the administration. So there's a lot going on here, and ticket sales, probably the most important thing right now is being headed up by Roger Harwell. Did I miss anybody? No. Okay. We are going to do this on October 16th, so you better block it out on your calendar because we need every single one of you on the day of the show to help us. So has anybody saw your email a few weeks ago from me via Dorina? Okay, so you guys all have the link to be able to sell car show tickets. We also have a letter, if you're not comfortable with it, we have a letter that we can, as a template that's going out to you, that you can just copy and paste and put to all of your friends and family and sell tickets and have the link in it. Right now, the easiest thing is to just sell them online. Next, the tickets and posters are getting ready to be printed. Next slide, please. I think I told you this. Our website's updated. Matt and Media is working with us on all our social media. If you're not part of Facebook for our club and you do Facebook at all, please look at it. We're also doing Instagram. And if you need posters, we're getting those ready to be printed. So I'm going to tell you about the tickets. Next slide, please. Online ticket sales are going great. We've already sold almost 900. As of this morning, 877 online tickets have been sold. Mark Irvin, please stand up. He's already sold 500 tickets. So when we ask you what you can do for your Rotary Club, and we ask you to sell 40, you can ask Mark, how did you do it? There's a survey going out, and if you would like to do the survey online, it's going out later today. Roger Harwell and Jeannie Zita put this together, and it's to ask you a number of things. And one of the things is to ask you, do you want printed tickets to sell, or do you just want to commit to selling online by sending a letter to your friends and getting them to go online? It's really easy. But if you want printed tickets, you can have them. So what we need from you, we don't want to spend money we don't have to, because it takes away from what we can give to JTAG. So if you will grab one of those surveys and either fill it out online or grab it from the back table, since we can't put them on these tables, and indicate how many tickets are you going to commit to sell. We need everybody's commitments, and how many of printed tickets versus online that you want to do. Also, we're asking you, do you have any auction items so that Michelle can be successful and we can be successful? And are you interested in volunteering? So there's a series of questions. Please fill it out. If you could fill it out in the next 5 to 7 days, it would be great. We'd really like to get that. Get the tickets printed, and we need to know how many. Next slide, please. To get the idea, we need your help. This is our signature event, and thanks to John Wong, who so many years ago said, we need to do something that is a repeatable event, that isn't just something that everybody else does, like a gala, where everybody just writes checks. We want to do a repeatable event that gets better every year, that our community knows us for, that we're recognized, and we can make a certain assurable amount of money, and we use other people's money and our energy. Did I get that right, John? Okay. So, you know what? There's going to be some events actually happening. So we know so far that the home show is going to be happening on May 21st through the 23rd. If you are interested in selling tickets there, who do they need to tell? Dave White. Thank you. And if you don't remember who to tell, let me know, or Jeannie, and we'll figure that out. Little Anthony's on Friday nights. We're going to have the car at both of those events. There'll be more events too. There's lots of prep work to do. We need your help in volunteering for committees and also for day of show. Next slide. So why are we doing all of this? You know, some years ago, our club voted on what things were important to raise money for our local community. And we said it needed to be about literacy and helping with job training. And so for years, we've helped, with Make Way for Books. But we are doing this for JTED, and they have wonderful programs, and they serve over 2,000 people are in their school, in their programs right now, and 20,000 are connected remotely, right? Is that right?
That's correct.
So there are a lot of people that are benefiting from the variety of it. If you look up JTED, you'll be shocked at the variety of educational programs and who all they are training in our town. So they are a huge, important asset to our community. And so we're doing this to make sure that that asset does well. We're not only educating people, we're also helping young people have a reason to stay in this town. So we're creating jobs as well. And these are the essential workers of tomorrow. Next slide. What are the reasons for you to all participate? You're going to gain lifelong friends. You already are all friends. But when you work on a show like the car show, you get to know people really well. And people have bonded over the years from it. And I think everybody feels like, hey, we're helping this community that we live in to be better. And as I said, we get to keep young people employed in our community. And you get to get outside. How long has it been since we've gotten to do something outside with a bunch of Rotarians? Last slide. Well, there was one more picture, but maybe not. So you too can win this car. Don't forget, you can win this car. But it isn't all about check writing. It's about please sell the tickets and get 35,000 tickets. So thank you for all your help in advance.
Exciting stuff. Great group of people doing lots of hard work to make all these things happen. So thank you guys all for everything. Jim, as you know, we have a tradition in our club. We like to have our keynote speakers sign books that we donate to our Make Way for Books library. And today's book is my first 100 words. We'll have you sign this momentarily. I know that we're running a little bit behind schedule today, but you guys, I do have lots of extra time in the bank. I'm just saying, unlike past President Bob. So,
Take all the time you
we
want.
have a birthday party today. There's 3 birthdays in the house that we need to celebrate. So I'm going to go ahead and get our introductions for those birthday celebratees. The first birthday was actually Monday, March 15th. This person has been a member of our club since February of 1983. He was born in China, but grew up not only in the United States, around the world as well. He was in the Special Forces in Vietnam, a medic. We already heard some of this, thanks to Jim, but I'm going to repeat myself because John Wong's a pretty cool guy. He graduated from Princeton. That's where he got his fabulous taste in fashion. Orthopedic surgeon at Tucson Orthopedic Institute, also the orthopedic surgeon for the University of Arizona for about 40 years. Club president, 2006-2007. He began the car show era. Aren't we lucky that he did that for us? The architect of the car show. Come on up here. Say some words.
I'll save you time. I'll just do it from here.
Okay.
I have 2 checks. One for our scholarship endowment fund in our club foundation, and one for the Rotary Foundation, Rotary International, for your annual fund.
Thank you. That's very much appreciated.
And thanks to Charlie O'Dowd for bringing me in shortly after he brought me in. They kicked him out of the club. It's been a great privilege. Thank you all.
Happy birthday, Jim. The next birthday we are celebrating is actually today, St. Patty's Day, for a person who's been in our club for 50 years, since November 1st of 71. Remember, is a native of Tucson. He's a graduate of multiple universities, including the U of A, the University of San Francisco, and New York University, where he earned multiple degrees. He was a CPA in LA and San Francisco prior to becoming a tax attorney at Duffield, Young, and Adamson PC in 1970. He was president of our club in 1985-86, actually formed the Rotary Club of Tucson Foundation, served as its president for the foundation from inception until 2002. It's a long time. Additionally, something you may not know about Larry Adamson is he's a retired commander from the Naval Reserve. Come on up here.
Today I am 86 years young. And that brought me to say, where did the saying, he got 86 come from? So, one story is, in Korea, they had some fighter jets, the F-86s. And when they shot down somebody, they were known as being 86th. And it's also Article 86 of the Uniform Military Justice is when you're AWOL. So my father joined in 1925, served, was in the Rotary until he was 79 and died. Died 1 year ago next week, and I miss them both a lot. I'm involved with a foundation that has supported some charities, and one of the charities we're supporting this year with the challenge grant is JTED. We've committed $200,000 to them. They have to raise money from other people. Not this event doesn't count. But we expect JTED to be $1 million, have $1 million year this year. So anyway, thanks for being my friends in Rotary, and love you all.
You don't wear that hat to concerts. Last but not least, we have another birthday to celebrate. The birthday is today, another St. Patty's Day baby. She's been a member since June 3rd of 2010. She is originally from Twin Falls, Idaho, where she grew up on a farm. She earned her degrees from the University of Washington and Eastern Washington University. She was a teacher for 8 years, but then she went on to run and own a successful staffing business until her retirement, the Temp Connection. She was Rotary Club of Tucson president in 2016-2017, our district governor 2019-2020. Ellie Patterson, I don't know if you know this about her, but she really likes to break things. And our Rotary allowed her to do a lot of breaking things. And when she isn't breaking things, she's enjoying time hiking, biking, the L Tour, skiing all over the world. I get really jelly of her pictures of skiing in the Alps. And she enjoys spending time with her granddaughter. Come on up here, Ellie. Oh, and by the way, on her birthday, she gave me a present. A little shamrock.
So, Larry, can I borrow your hat tonight? No, I always enjoy my birthday on St. Patrick's Day, and I want to wish you a very happy St. Patrick's Day. It's one of my favorite holidays. And last year, I had a bit of trouble finding an Irish pub with the lockdown that happened a year ago this evening. And, but I'm really confident this year that I'm going to find an open pub, and we'll make our way there. So anyway, I'd like to take this moment to thank my friend and sponsor, Mike Schulte, for bringing me into this remarkable club. In fact, I saw Mike at Sabino Canyon last Sunday. We were hiking on a same trail, so we had a nice visit. And I'd also like to thank my friend and mentor, Doc Krett, for helping me find my way in Rotary. And who's also celebrating a birthday this month. There's one March birthday people. I have 2 checks here, one for our Tucson Rotary Club Foundation and one for the Rotary Foundation. Foundation. And I also slipped a little check to Caleb's assist. So, in closing, I'd like to wish you this. May your joys be deep and lasting, and your cares be small and few. May all your luck be good luck, and all your friends be true. May your heart be light and happy when the sun shines down on you, and may life smile upon you and on the ones that love you. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone.
Happy birthday, everybody. All right, we're going to turn it over to our Sergeant at Arms, and he has some announcements.
All right, so we have a couple of dates that we're changing our locations. We're looking at where we're going to be in the future as we open up to more people. So April 7th, we're going to be at the Country East. April 14th at the TCC. And I've been hearing really good things about the food at both of these locations as we've been having fantastic lunches here. And then 2 questions about the April 21st Home Hospitality Week. We're going to raise of hands of who would like to host in your house one of these events. Home Hospitality, we got Wayne, Jen. Great, we've got a few people who raised hands. Second question, would you like to attend one of these events? Are you open to attending a home hospitality? Raise your hand. We have some participation, about half there. What else? And Westward Look, we're checking out on the 28th. So make sure you watch the emails and have this on your calendar. Where to show up when for April. What else we got, Jen? Let's see. I think we have Dave Gallagher up to talk about the Triangle Y Ranch.
Yep, we do.
We do. And I love the bola and the jacket. Man.
That's it. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Like many other people have already commented, first meeting in 13 months for me. It feels very good to see everybody here, and I really missed our meetings. We have 2 back-to-back Saturdays, March 27th, April 3rd, at the Triangle Ranch, and 8:30 to 2 o'clock. We're going to limit the commitment to 12 people and 12 spaces. Excuse me. We have all sorts of outside area to work from, so many of you are familiar with the property, and we're going to do this in a very safe and sane manner. They really need us out there. It's been, we didn't get out there last year, so we're going to have 12 slots. Bring sunscreen. We'll have water. And please call me or email me or pester Green, I shouldn't say that, but just get a hold of me so I know that I want to keep track of the slots. And we're going to have some fun. It's been a long time since we've had a service project, so I think we're looking forward to this.
What's the date?
The date is March 27th, and then the following Saturday, April 3rd, both on Saturdays, 8:30 to 2. You can come, leave when you want, do what you want, but 2 Saturdays back to back. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Jim Murphy, the Irishman. Larry.
Brother Jim, I think his high hat topped my top hat. And join me after the meeting at Finney's, right up the street. They're looking for a place to have a drink. A little fortuitous that I'm giving an update today because it was scheduled many months in advance of this. And Jim mentioned the process by which JTED was established as our primary beneficiary. Through that process of an RFP, we looked down to 5 nonprofits, site visits, and then evaluation by the committee. 3 were selected. They presented at the club, and the club voted for JTED. But just before that RFP went out, there was a feeling we needed a little more incentive for nonprofits to put in applications for major projects. So the club and the foundation decided to give some money to the 2nd and 3rd organizations that came in that vote. So one was the Great Park Zoo, and the other one was Interfaith Community Services. So I'm going to give a little update on those two projects. Some don't even, some new members don't even know that, and some board members may have forgot that we had two other beneficiaries who received dollars. One was the zoo. Funny time for the zoo. But fortunately, the project that we have allocated money for is not the one that's in question now. And the zoo has kept us updated on these things. The one that they proposed to us and we are funding is the World of Play Adventure Zone. A really creative area for kids. There's seating for older folks, and it's kind of an international kind of exhibit of playthings around the world. So they have 100% construction documents now. They hope to break ground earlier this year. So they haven't spent any of our dollars yet, but they will very shortly. The Interfaith Community Services we're developing on East Fort Lowell. They're primarily on the north side. ICS, as they're referred to, they have all kinds of different programs. They have a small office on the far southeast side, and they have a location on Fort Lowell. They write, thanks for reaching out. Yes, the site on Fort Lowell did not work out. We signed a lease last week, that was the 1st of February, at Rincon Congregational United Church of Christ on Craycroft and Broadway. We're excited about this location, and it will serve emergency financial assistance, workforce development, and our single mom scholar program. It will also serve as a food distribution site. They've not spent any of the funds, but they will be as they remodel areas there for their East Side Family Resource Center. So that's a little update on our two secondary beneficiaries. At this time then, I think I go on and ask Chris Dodds to come up, who's getting his blue badge today. Many of you know Chris probably, is a member for just about a year now. He went to high school at the Moon Valley, played a little basketball, but somebody more famous came out of that high school, Richard Jefferson, who played a little better basketball. So, Chris went a different route in playing basketball. Many of you probably know that he's a principal percussionist and pianist with many organizations, Tucson Symphony, musical director at Invisible Theater, creator, I believe, of the Tucson Magnet School Steel Drum Band. Many of us have enjoyed that for years, and that's where Bob Logan met him and sponsored him into Rotary. Well, a lot of people don't know that he's been medical director for a lot of musical director. I'm working at Joni and I got that kid mixed up. Music director for programs like Forever Plaid, Footloose, Guys and Dogs, Peter Pan, Patsy Cline, many others, Wicked, the Book of Mormon. So many of us have not been that active in the last year because there hasn't been many ways for us to be active. But he and Catherine Burns did do the Carole King show. Many of us had before the virus hit us. He and his son did a Christmas program. And in the Rotary spirit, he has raised $3,500 that was matched for gig workers who were out of work. So that really kind of so at this time, I'd like to give him his blue badge.
Thank you, Mr. Jim. Thank you, my sponsor, Bob. Thank you, President Jim. Thank you, President Mark. It's an honor and a privilege to be part of this club. And real briefly, I wrote a song for Bob, and it's called "It's All Bob's Fault." I'm not going to sing it right now. And, maybe later after the Irish drinking ensues. But the hook to the song is, it alludes to this, that I've known Bob for 20 plus years, and he really leads by example, and he's the true example of service above self, and it's his fault that he taught that to me. Thank you, Bob. It's all your fault.
Congrats on the blue badge. Okay, a little bit tardy, that's okay. We've had a fun day. Next week, well, I guess I'm getting a little ahead of myself trying to rush. Next week, our speaker is, I'm going to say her name wrong, but Carolyn Knight, remember? Meeting, Tucson in the UNESCO City of Gastronomy. I can say things sometimes. I want to thank you guys for coming today. Thank you, guests. Thank you, all these new faces here. It makes me happy to see so many. Looking forward to things getting to be a little more normal each week. Thank you, guests, for tuning in virtually. Nice to see some visitors in the crowd today. I hope you liked what you saw. If you would like to donate to our scholarship cups, there's a cup at the registration table. And remember those 2 cards there for Tom Healy and Tom Browning. Happy birthday, John, Larry, Ellie. Also remember to turn your name tags in the basket at the back of the room. All right. So, for St. Patty's Day, I have a little Irish toast. All right. To all the days here and after, may they be filled with fond memories, happiness, and laughter. There you go. We're adjourned. Have a great and safe green beer.